Top of the morning, folks.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I guess for Jack and I, it's the morning. Who
Yep.
knows when you'll be listening? But welcome to another series recap on the Blue Jay Way podcast here. We're going to be going over the 4-game set that the Blue Jays just wrapped up against the Kansas City Royals, and it was a pretty good series, all things considered, with the Blue Jays taking 3 out of 4 against the Royals. Jack, but it didn't start off all that well. After a tough series in St. Louis, the Blue Jays went into Kansas City, a
Yep.
team that, not many are expecting from this year. They still have a ways to go in terms of developing and getting their core rounded out and getting all the pieces there.
Yep.
But anyways, the Blue Jays roll in there. They send Jose Barrios out to the mound, and he gets rocked. He gets
Jose,
rocked for 8 earned runs over 5 2/3, giving up 9 hits.
but 7 strikeouts, Chris. Don't forget the 7 strikeouts.
I mean, yeah, it looked good at times. It looked bad most of the time. And yeah, the kind of spiral that the Jays pitching was on continued into Kansas City. Jack, let's just go over Barrios a little bit. Anything that sticks out to you in that start? Anything that you want to get off your chest with Jose?
Oh, buddy, where do I start? No, I said I was going to shit on him. I'm not going to shit on him. You know why? Because I want him to succeed so badly with the amount of money that they're paying him, with the amount of, he did put in the work this offseason. He spent pretty much every day at the Blue Jays, spring training facility to make sure he figured his stuff out. And, at some points in the spring, it looked like, hey, he might have done it. He might be back to what he was when we got him from Minnesota. But as we saw in game 1, it wasn't exactly the case. He was struggling to locate his pitches. He was throwing a lot of balls. He walked a lot of guys. I believe he had 8 walks. He had more walks than strikeouts, which is a huge problem for any starting pitcher, let alone a guy who is trying to find his way back and build his confidence back up to what it was. But he struggled at times. There were some points you and I were messaging each other back and forth saying that inning, he looked like spot on. Like he was hitting every spot and everything's looking great. And then the next inning, it's like, oh, this is not good. And then it's I remember I watched a documentary about the knuckleball, and I think it was either Whitey Herzog or one of the managers said it's like with a knuckleballer, it's like sitting in a rocking chair. It's like, do I give him one more? No, I sit back down. Oh, I gotta get him out now. It's like sitting in a rocking chair, and that's how it felt with Jose Barrios in game 1. I was like, John, you got to get in there. Okay, no, you got to get back in there now. No. It wasn't consistent, and that's exactly what you need out of a guy who's in your 4th or 5th spot in the rotation. And he didn't give them that, and unfortunately, it cost them game 1 of the series.
Yeah, kind of looked shaky from the first inning. Gave up a couple of hits back to back, some good contact. To me, with Jose, it's just, I think, getting some confidence back and being able to locate his pitches more than anything. I mean, the stuff is really, really good when it's in the right spot. But I think when it's kind of flat and it can stay in some dangerous areas, teams just aren't going to miss it. I mean, it's not overpowering. It's got some good movement, but again, the movement means nothing if it's moving right into the middle of the plate. And that's what was happening a lot on Monday. So the Royals, they take game 1 9-5, a bit of an offensive explosion for them. After this, it was
considering their lineup is a glorified AAA lineup.
Yeah, and that's a lineup you'd love to see Barrios go out and dominate, but it didn't happen. 9-5 loss. The Blue Jays, they slipped to 1-3 after that one. Everyone was getting a little nervous. But let's move on to some positives with the pitching staff, because after that start, the pitching staff for the rest of the series was really dominant, and it started. The season was saved by one Yusei Kikuchi.
The Coochie man, we love him.
The cooch was loose in Kansas City. I heard that quote going around. It was hilarious. And there's no other way to put it. There's no other way to put it. I mean, he looked incredible.
Oh, he was fantastic.
Yeah,
It just yeah,
just gave up one earned run over 5 innings. 2 strikeouts to end the night, which I thought was nice. He was able to find a couple of nice pitches. One breaking ball right at the end. I think it was to Nick Eaton.
I believe so, yeah.
To end his night with a bit of a fist bump from the Cooch. So that was great. And yeah, I think this game. I think from this point on in the series, I mean the lineup, you know, they didn't do anything too crazy. I mean, there was a couple guys that we'll get into that did a couple things, but for me, from this game on, for the next 3 games in this series, it was all about the rotation. And Yusei Kikuchi kicked things off, throwing the fastball, 1 walk over 5 innings. You know, balls in play, looking confident. And I just think, you know, as a 5th starter, this guy could be an absolute revelation this season. After a really rough one last year, Jack, do you feel the same way?
Oh, dude, hands down. If this is your 5th guy in your starting rotation, any Major League Baseball club would be like ecstatic to have this guy as your 5th starter. Like, yes, last year he wasn't his usual self. He lost his starting job in the rotation. He went to the bullpen around August, which, you know, I think he took personally, but also took as like, okay, I really need to get it together. And he did. He brought back, I don't know if you remember or if you heard them talking about this, he brought back his curveball that he threw with Seattle in 2019. He didn't throw it from 2020 to last season, 2022. So about 3 years worth of baseball, he didn't throw it. And Buck Martinez mentioned on the broadcast, shout out to Buck. Buck, we love you. Home run calls are legendary. That it's a more useful weapon because of the depth between his top fastball speed, which he was hitting 98, Chris, in that start. Like he hit 98, I think 2 or 3 times. And then the curveball tops out about 81, 82. So that 17, 18, you know, mile per hour difference in his pitches is huge, especially with the amount of movement that the curveball has. He's limited his slider usage. He's throwing the changeup more, which is what Pete Walker stressed was more important. He mixes pitches better because that slider last year we saw it wasn't exactly like, it was like we talked about Barrios, a bit flat. So at that point, it just becomes glorified batting practice, right? So now he's incorporating the curveball, and it worked out well for him. Again, 2 strikeouts. He was kind of brought here to be a strikeout pitcher, but at the same time, if he's only giving up 1 earned run,
yeah, we don't mind soft contact on this show.
Not at all. No,
we're a fan of soft contact. Yeah, no, he looked great. The Jays win 4-1. A couple other things from this game. Dalton Varsho popped one out the left for his first home run as a Blue Jay. This guy is as advertised, I would say.
He is becoming I argue, the quickest, like most beloved player to come here in a trade in a very long time. If you were to,
it's just the way he plays, man.
If you were to build, like in a lab, build me the best, hardest working baseball player.
Yeah.
It's like mold A, Mike Trout, mold B, Dalton Varsho. Just the way that he plays the game, the way he approaches every at bat, the way he approaches every ball hit to him is textbook baseball player.
Yeah.
Attacks with 120% effort every single time, puts his body on the line day in, day out. He's so good. Like there's literally nothing you can say other than he's just a dog. That's all.
Yeah, and I mean, in addition to throwing hitting that home run in that game too, he had a big play on defense where he threw out a runner at home on a fly ball. I don't remember who the runner was, but it would have put the Royals up 2-0.
I believe so.
Yeah, so it was a big moment in that game, and after that moment too, I think that gave Kikuchi a bit of confidence, and he was able to really settle in after that. He didn't allow anything after that, so I think you know, it was one of the perks of building this kind of defensive team and this defensive outfield is, you know, you got guys back there that can back up pitchers and, you know, make them feel confident and, you know, make them willing to throw pitches in the zone, keep the defense on the toes, and the defense, you know, can make some big plays for them as well. So yeah, Yusei Kikuchi, from spring training onward, it's been all positives with him, and he carried that right into his first start and really stabilized the rotation as the Blue Jays are now 2-3. They get a 4-1 win. You know, Yusei Kikuchi, the main story in that one. And then the next game 3 of the set, the Jays also win. They win. They shut out the Royals 3-0, and Alek Manoah is back on the mound after a rough one in St. Louis on opening day, and he just cruised. I mean, this is what we were saying. I mean, you don't really have to worry about this guy. This is what we've seen from him so many times. It's just a solid quality start. I mean, he didn't strike out too many guys. He had 5, but 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs,
1 hit.
That's just Alek Manoah.
Well, the thing is that I love about Alek Manoah, and the thing that separates aces from guys who just are in the pitching staff, and Kevin Gausman has this trait too. They both actually exhibited it in their starts in Kansas City. And we'll get to Gausman's more in a bit, but excuse me. Manoah did not have his best stuff in that game. But the thing that separates him from the rest of the pack is that even when he's not at his best when it comes to his you know, whether it's his velocity's down or his locating is not exactly 100%, he finds a way to get outs, whether it's like just soft contact, which he's tremendous at. And also I believe by last year's numbers, he was like top 5 in limiting runs scored with runners on base in scoring position while he was pitching last year. As a 24 or 25-year-old, to have that ability at such a young age is huge for anybody. Like, especially like, and you look at this team, right? And the Jays, to me, need a guy like that, and they have one of the best. Because we know that the Jays are one of the struggling teams on the opposite side of that when it comes to hitting with runners in scoring position. So, but if you can prevent runs, then, you know, you just got to work out the kinks, and there's not as much pressure to do that. So Manoah didn't have his best stuff, still went out and dominated. Again, pinch of salt, it's the Kansas City Royals. But we saw in game 1, they can put up runs. They put up 9.
If you leave balls down the middle, any team. Yeah. If you're not good, Jose Barrios showed us. If you're not good, there's really nowhere to hide in the majors. But yeah, Manoah, just clinical. I mean, we've seen it from him many times now. That's just like a quintessential Manoah start. Going deep in the game, you know, limiting hard contact. It was everything you wanted to see. Big swing of the bat in this one too. Man, like, the fact this guy, like the balls that he hits out are just incredible. Vladdy, he goes deep for the first time, opposite field, like just one of the prettier swings I've seen from Vlad in a long time.
Dude,
honestly, just driving the ball to right field on a line, right over the wall. I mean, it's probably like hitting 101. I mean, I was never, you know, getting hitting instructions and you know, doing all these breakdowns and stuff of swings, but man, just watching that swing, watching how he keyed in on the outside of the plate and just, you know, didn't try and do too much, just put his swing on it, was thinking the other way. I mean, that is beautiful from Vladdy. And
if they ever come out with a documentary called The Art of Hitting, you got to have Vladdy as one of, like, once his career's over, you got to have him as one of the talking heads.
Oh yeah, that swing was, I mean, he's been swinging it great, and he's been putting a lot of great swings on the ball. But that opposite field, just effortless power. Yeah. It's super impressive, man. So Vlad gets on the board. Matt Chapman had a big game. I think we'll kind of go over Chapman at the end because his series in general was just incredible.
Yeah. What are we going to do? Say every single time? Oh, yeah, Chapman. No.
Yeah, Chapman.
We'll break it down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Matt Chapman. He's looking good. That's all we'll say for now. He's looking really good. And also, I think in one of these games, he got moved into the cleanup spot, which we were talking about, and it paid off. So, but he had a big hit in the next game. So why don't we move on to game 4? The Jays have now won 2 in a row, and they send Kevin Gossman to the mound, and he dominates. What else is new? The Jays take a final game 6-3. They win 3 of 4. It was pretty. The Jays were cruising, looking like they were about to just hop on a plane to Los Angeles, but things got a little
Shaky.
tense at the end. So we'll get into that. But first, we'll start with the starter, Kevin Gossman. Man, this guy with 2 pitches. What he's able to do with 2 pitches is just, it shouldn't be allowed, man. The trickery, just how dominant that splitter is just something to behold. And he had the good splitter going. 6 innings, no runs, 7 strikeouts, couple on the fastball, with the majority of them on the splitter. Gave up 5 hits and just didn't even break a sweat. It looked like so. Another dominant starter from Gossman, a dominant start from Gossman, and 3 really, really good starts from the Blue Jay starters to round out the series, which is exactly what they needed.
Yep. Yeah, man. I mentioned it earlier with Manoah not having his best stuff. Gossman was not hitting his normal velocity on his fastball. Yeah. I saw a few 88s and I was like, "Oh, is he hurt?" Yeah. I was worried. I was actually worried.
That was strange. That was strange.
I was like, he's about 8 miles an hour less than what he normally tops out at. Yeah. So, but
I think I heard him talking about it. I think he said it was a bit windy. You know, he thought he could still be effective with that. And like I think a couple times he hit 95 when he needed it. When he needed it, it's there. And maybe, it's another way of just getting guys out. Guys think a certain speed's coming. He slows it down. That could have been a thing too, but I think everything's good. When he needed it, it was there. Maybe it was just a bit of a strategy or goes with the elements. I think it's all good.
Clearly it worked.
Yeah.
He didn't give up a single run.
No, he looked really good, man. I mean, the Jays starters, Kikuchi, Manoah, Gossman, that's a good 3. And they all had great starts to really stabilize. I think the whole team, I think the whole team was a bit shaky in that first game. And then, I think Kikuchi went out and stabilized and just set the table for the next guy and just keep that going. I want a good start. Everybody gets a good start. And it's the Royals. So go have a good start. If there's any team that you're going to do it against,
build your confidence up somehow.
Yeah. So this game as well featured a bit of a bullpen meltdown.
You can't have the good without the bad, my friend.
Jays were cruising up 6-0. And then I think it was the 7th or the 8th, maybe the 8th. I think it was the 8th. The Royals rocked like 5 hits in a row. They had runners on, two runners on with nobody out. They'd already made it 6-3. And the main perpetrators of this bad inning were Trevor Richards and Tim Mayza, the lone lefty. Mayza continues to struggle this season. All of his outings that I've seen, he's been giving up some runs. Teams
they brought him in to face Vinny Pasquantino, and don't get me wrong, Vinny Pasquantino is a great hitter, but lefty, like the whole reason you're there is to get him out.
Struggling to get lefties out too. Like I remember in game 1 of the season, he couldn't get out Newbar, he couldn't get out Donovan. These are gonna be critical moments for Tim Mayza in critical matchups, and he's gonna have to get these guys out, or else the Jays are gonna have to figure something out because he's the only lefty. They do have guys like maybe Eric Swanson, who's got a pitch that could do some damage against lefties and a splitter. They've got some guys that can get lefties out from the right side, but Tim Mayza struggled. Trevor Richards. I don't know about you, Jack, but I'm almost at the point where I would maybe want to see Trevor Richards substituted by Nate Pearson.
I've been on that boat since spring training, my friend. The spring that Nate Pearson had, there no doubt in my mind he should have been in the bullpen to start the season.
I know, yeah.
The kid throws 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You can't teach that. Like, you really can't teach that. Trevor Richards is topping out, what, 92, 91?
I think one thing with that,
his changeup can be effective, but if he's only hitting his spot 30% of the time with it, you're just ending up walking guys. Like, these are big league. I'm stumbling over my. I'm just so flustered about this. Big league hitters, right? Yeah. If it's a shitty located pitch, they're gonna lay off. Yeah. They're not gonna swing at it, right? And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. He walked a couple guys. Then they brought in Meza. Meza gives up a base hit, and then everything looks like it's. I was at work on Thursday. I was watching the game while I was working, and then I had a double shift, so I got off around 4, went to the bar where I sat and watched the game. Didn't have a drink because I'm a good, respectable person. And I was watching, and I'm just sitting there like, John Schneids, my guy, get him out of the game. Please, for the love of God, get him out of the game. Bring in Romano. I don't care if he's a bit tired. I'll take him tired over 2 guys who are fresh that are giving up hits like this. So...
yeah, I think the thing with Richards is you got no options left.
Yeah.
I think that's a big reason why he's still around. I think, if they decided to let him go on waivers, he'd be claimed pretty quickly. So it's, you don't want to give up on him completely. You want to try and let him work through it. But I do think that a Nate Pearson call-up is in the cards at some point, especially if Richards continues to struggle. But yeah, the boys, Jimmy and Adam Simber came in, shut it down. Jays went 6-3. Vlad with another beautiful swing of the bat.
Yep.
Another long home run in that one. He's been pretty incredible through the opening 2 series of this season. He looks to be right back to his 2021 form.
Yeah, more home runs than strikeouts, by the way.
Now he's tied after last night. The human glitch got him.
Yeah, the human glitch.
But anyways, we'll get into that. But I think the main reason for Vlad's success so far is, like we've said a couple of times, and like all of us were able to witness in 2021, is just discipline at the plate, not going out of the zone, hunting his pitch, making pitchers come to him, and just putting a beautiful, even swing, inside-out swing at times on the ball. On that home run, the second one of the series, he just pulled those hands in and just yanked it. But the swing wasn't much different from the home run that he sent out to right field, which is what you want to see. It's consistent. He seems comfortable in the box. He's not trying to do too much. I think he knows that he's got guys around him that can also do damage. So he's just trying to do his part. There was one at bat, I think, in that game where he just dumped a single into the right field. I mean, you love to see that. You just love to see that. Take what the pitcher's giving you. Don't try and do too much. The Miguel Cabrera school of hitting. Just, all right, I'm a little tired. You're going to throw me that pitch. All right, I'll take a single.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to do what I want.
I mean, 3,000 hits and 500 plus home runs isn't a bad career. So if you're going to model yourself after,
starting to remind me a bit
of Miggy. Not of Albert. Not a little bit of Albert in there.
I think more Miggy.
I think more Miggy too.
I think more Miggy the way he's like, I can yank a home run to left field if I want to. I can pull a ball and hit a home run to left. But a lot of my damage is going to go to the opposite field. And if you're giving me pitches on the outer half, I'm either not swinging or I'm just going to dump a single into right. And Miguel Cabrera, probably the greatest of all time, at just opposite field, hitting, taking what the pitcher's giving him. Just incredible start for Vlad. And Matt Chapman, too. This guy.
You just got to throw your hands up.
I know. I mean, yeah, there's really not much to say. Except for Matt Chapman looks incredible at the plate every single game. He got the scoring started in the 4th game with just a rocket off the wall. A little sinker coming inside. He just brought the hands in and just ripped it to left. I'm really happy for Chapman in his contract year to get off to a start like this. I think the Jays are definitely going to have to look into signing him sooner than later if they want to keep him around.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
I want to pose a question after this regarding an extension, but continue and then I'll bring it up to you after.
No, that's basically, I mean, I was just going to ramble on about how good he looks and how much you enjoy watching him hit right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I don't have the exact numbers for where he was at in this series, but I mean,
he was batting over 500. Let's just say
every at bat he looked dangerous and he was hitting balls hard, and he had doubles galore. He was driving in runs. I mean, another great series from Matt Chapman. Got a move into the cleanup spot, and he
delivered.
He did great. yeah. So, keep it going, Chap.
Yeah, the thing is that I saw a funny tweet. I believe it was from Gate 14 podcast. Shout out to a wonderful Toronto Blue Jays podcast on here. It was it was a GIF of Bugs Bunny counting dollar bills, and it was like Matt Chapman's agent. Chris, you're on mute there, buddy. Can't hear you.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. And you just like sitting there. Yeah, that's another one.
No, I know.
One. And I'm like, oh God. And that got me thinking. I'm like, I'm happy for him too. But I'm like, how much money is Chapman gonna want now? If he, again, it's early.
Yeah.
Let's see what we're talking about around July. If he levels out or if he goes on, he wins an MVP award. Who knows?
Yeah, it's not a bad problem to have.
No, but it got me thinking because I saw last night, and I'm sure you saw it too. We are recording this a day after the first game of the Jays series in Los Angeles against the Angels. So last night in the interview room, the wonderful Hazel May, we love Hazel. She's awesome. Legend of the Blue Jays broadcast for a very long time. She sat down with Vladdy in the interview room and brought up the fact that he hasn't been offered an extension, even though he's made it abundantly clear that he wants to be a Blue Jay for life. He said last night, she said, is that still a possibility for you that you want to be here long term? He's like, oh, I want to be here for my whole life. How do you not sign a guy like that? He wants to be here. He hates the Yankees. He loves beating on them. He wants to be a Blue Jay for life. He loves the city. He's from he's from here. Granted, he was born in Montreal, moved to Dominican and grew up there, but the guy wants to be here. So my question, Chris, who do the Jays extend first? Do you extend Vladdy? And I tweeted last night, I said, how does a 15-year, $420 million contract? That's $30 million a year.
Yeah.
That's less than Machado.
Yeah.
Less than Trout. It's less than Betts. It's competitive in those salaries. Yeah. But 420. I would not mind that whatsoever.
I wonder
who do you extend first? That's my dilemma. Who do you extend first?
So I think the first extension is going to be Chapman.
Yeah.
If they do it, just because.
And how much? How many years? How much money? Because we got 10 minutes left.
That's all going to depend. That's all going to depend on, I think, his season. It could be an in-season thing.
Yep.
If it's not done by the end of the season, I think that's when you kind of would decide, yeah, he might be walking. That might be a little nerve-wracking, but that's when I think we'll have a better idea of how much it's going to be. Because, a good season is great, but we kind of saw it with Marcus Semien, and Marcus Semien's been good in Texas, but has he been worth how much he's getting paid?
And no. he's getting 25 a year. 25
exactly.
Yeah.
Mind you, I don't think Chapman would maybe be signed for as long as Semien.
No, because he turns 31 next February or April, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah,
he's got
maybe a shorter deal. Maybe you can add a couple million to a couple million to the average annual pay. But I think Chapman would be the first one to get extended. I think something I've always felt this with Vlad is that it's never in doubt. It's never in doubt.
Yeah.
He's not leaving. He's not going to leave. And I don't know if that's why the front office is waiting. They've got time.
I mean, they're
with
paying
some
him.
arbitration years.
They're paying him 14.5 in ARB this year.
Yeah,
that's a
and
lot of money.
Yeah, but that's a steal. That's still a steal for him. If you signed him this past offseason, you'd be buying out a year plus some, and then so I think they've still got some years of arbitration. I wouldn't be surprised if this offseason. I wouldn't be surprised if this next offseason. I think both sides know what's going to happen eventually. I think both sides are very comfortable with it happening. I just think it's going to happen naturally, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think there's any rush from either side. I don't think there's any press. I don't think anyone's going up and being like, we need to get this done. I think it's just we're playing ball and we're going to sign this extension at some point. It's just, a matter of when and exactly what the money's going to be. But yeah, it's going to be in that $350 to $450 million range between 10 and 15 years. But yeah, that was a great quote. And, I love that. I love that Vlad has embraced the city and the team, and that was a feel good moment there. And then after that, we saw Vlad and his dad and Mike Trout out on the field. It was it was a good way to start that game. And I think I've said it before on the pod here too, is that I've never been worried about Vlad leaving or not signing long term.
Yeah,
it's just always felt like it's been.
I'm just getting antsy, man. I want to see it. I want to see that. I want to see that tweet of it breaking. We've officially extended Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to whatever X contract.
I almost guarantee that it's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's okay too, because the earlier you sign him, the more arbitration years you have to buy out.
Yeah,
so it's not the end of the world. I think if he has another big season, could be this off season.
Yep. Which all signs indicate yes, as far as the season has started so far.
Yeah, right? Most hard hit balls this season, 1 strikeout.
Yeah, by the way, him and Chapman have the hardest hit balls all year already. It's amazing. I love it.
Those two are looking really, really good. The Jays as a whole are looking good, especially in that series in Kansas City. 3-4 from the Royals.
Big series coming up at home next Tuesday. Boys are coming home. The renovations to the ballpark look amazing.
Yeah, they do.
I'm so excited to go this year, man. I'm gonna be a
lot of stuff to do.
I'm gonna be grabbing a lot of general admission tickets, I think. Yeah. Just going to stand it
No, it looks like a great time. A lot of stuff to do. A lot of places you can just kind of walk around.
Play some cornhole in the outfield.
Yeah, don't have to be in your seat as much, which is nice. And the new dimensions are going to be good too. So that's been the recap of the Blue Jays 3-1 series win, I guess you can call it, over the Kansas City Royals. Take 3 of 4 in a 4-game set. Pretty convincing win, getting back on track, you could say, in this series. So we will be back to recap the current series. That first game has been played against the Los Angeles Angels sometime midweek here, or sorry, not midweek, after the weekend, maybe Monday or Tuesday. We'll sit down and record that episode for you guys. But yeah, the Jays are back on track. It's looking good. Team looks dangerous. Lineup looks good. Pitching has rounded into form. And Jack, any closing thoughts, or are you
just don't forget to like? No, we hit the nail on the head, but just don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And again, leave a comment, and we will get back to you and address it on our next episode. But for us, I think that's it. I think Chris has to head to work, and I gotta get started running some errands of my own. So, folks, have a great afternoon. Take it easy. Thank you guys for everything.
You guys.